Welcome to the Cohn Zone. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Lowell Cohn. The Niners season ended 2 days ago, and it's time to make sense of it. My dad was the one who took the mature long view all season. Remember, at the beginning when the Niners were struggling, he said, relax, they're going to do better. Then when they did better, he said, relax, this whole season is going to be defined by the playoffs. And they just lost again in the NFC Championship game. Niner fans been spending a couple days trying to figure out how to take it. A lot of people think it was bad luck. The question of the day is it more than that? Is it something about the head coach, and should the 49ers fire Kyle Shanahan? What do you think, Dad?
Okay. Let me preface this a little by saying, of course I know they're not going to fire Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
Many of you think that I am wacko out of my mind. No, I know they're not going to fire him. Mm-hmm. So the question is not, are they going to fire him, but would it be a good move to fire him? Mm-hmm. And I would like to entertain that topic. And before I say that, you people watch Iggy and me every week and for a long time. And I think it's fair to say that I come across here as a reasonable person, open-minded, listening to other points of view, a good father, a good person. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to say about Shanahan does not come from hatred, animus, nothing like that. I'm a former sports columnist. It's my job to think about this and to state my opinion clearly. And if you disagree with it, God love you. God love you. It's a conversation. It's not an argument between enemies. So if I were Jed York, okay, it's hypothetical. If I were Jed York and running the show with the 49ers, you're damn right I would fire Kyle Shanahan. I would. Mm-hmm. I understand that when he came to the Niners, they were a mess. Mm-hmm. And I understand he's made them a very respectable team. Mm-hmm. I recognize that in certain ways he's a good coach. He's not a great coach. People asked me during the winning streak, can you now say he's a great coach? I said, wait till the playoffs. Then I'll let you know. He's a good coach. He's by no means a great coach. Mm-hmm. But I acknowledge that he's a good coach. Here's what I have to say. There are certain coaches who can get you to a certain level. Mm-hmm. I call them high-level losers. Mm-hmm. I think in his own way, Harbaugh is a high-level loser, Jim. And we're friends. But they can get you to a certain level, but they can't get past it. And the idea in the National Football League, this is not a Hearts and Flowers league. This is win the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
He hasn't done it, and he'll never do it. Mm-hmm. He'll never do it because he's his own impediment.
Yep.
The reason Kyle Shanahan won't do it is Kyle Shanahan.
Agreed.
He doesn't just lose the big game. He flops. Mm-hmm. There's a difference. You lose a big game, you say, gee, it could have gone, We can point out every single time he's flopped, starting with blowing the Super Bowl when he was with Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl with the 49ers. Last year, the NFC Championship. This year, talk about a flop.
Yeah.
He flopped. It's like I hadn't even sat in my chair yet, and he had already given the game away.
He missed that challenge on 4th and 3. That was the beginning of the end. Mm-hmm. That was the beginning.
And what he did, we'll get in a minute what he did, because it's very controversial. People think, it's just bad breaks, what happened to Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that at all. I want to say another thing. I used to cover all the teams in the Bay Area. I know Joe Lacob very well, who owns the majority owner of the Warriors. He had a pretty good coach. He had Mark Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Who took over that team when they were terrible. He turned them into a respectable team. They were in the playoffs. They were winning 50 games, winning playoff series.
He got rid of them.
After 3 years.
Yep. And what I want to say is Lacob's attitude, and the Yorks do not have this attitude. That's why Lacob has won all these championships, and they haven't. Mm-hmm. He said, it's not good enough. Mm-hmm. I want to win the goddamn thing.
Yeah, I want to be a champion. I want to be a champion.
Yes. And he is a champion.
He is a
because
champion.
he has that attitude. And
Yeah.
he said, Mark Jackson is not good enough. I need Steve Kerr. What the 49ers need, they have Mark Jackson. He's a respectable coach, Kyle. They need to find Steve Kerr.
Yep.
So that's my main point. Now, I have others, Iggy, but I
Yeah.
want to say
No, go
people,
ahead.
when I said on this morning or the last few days, I called Kyle Shanahan into question. People have said, you're nuts, go to sleep, old man, all this kind of crap. I want to point out the 49ers, when they mattered, which they haven't mattered since 1995, really, when they mattered, they were ruthless.
Yeah.
They got rid of George Seifert. Now, let me just say this. I know George. George is a better coach than Shanahan probably ever will be. George won 2 Super Bowls. George should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Iggy?
He's also a better coach than Mike Shanahan.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Went to 5 NFC championships, won 2 Super Bowls, yes.
Yeah, 2 Super Bowls on his own.
His win percentage was .648 over 8 years with the 49ers. .648. Got fired after going 12-4 and
12 and
losing
4.
in the. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. He went 12-4. This year they went 13-4 because
Yes.
it's an extra game. So
Right.
their records are comparable. And
Yeah.
he got fired on that
Fired.
record.
He won the Super Bowl 2 years before then.
That's
He
right.
lost that year to the Packers, who went on to win the Super Bowl. He lost by 23. Kyle just lost by 24.
Yeah. So what I want to say is, not everybody, some people are saying, it's just clickbait. Look at the Cohns. And they're so negative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Eddie, who people admire as being the best owner the Niners ever had, he got rid of George Seifert, who had a comparable record that year to Kyle and who lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion. So there's precedent for this. The Yorks, who were not nearly in the league of Eddie, they got rid of Mariucci after a pretty good... Well,
6
first of all,
years.
after
Yeah.
6 years, which is what this guy's had, right? 6
Yep.
years?
He was 57-39, which is a .594 winning percentage. He went to 1 NFC championship, and he got fired after going 10-6 and losing in the playoffs to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who won the Super Bowl that year.
Right. So
Yeah.
again, even the Yorks have a precedent for saying, we have some pretty good coaches, but now we're going to get rid of them.
Yep.
No one complained at that time.
Look at Philly. Philly had Andy Reid. They stuck with him for 14 years and tried to make it work. He never won a Super Bowl with them. Good coach, great coach. Fired him, went to Chip Kelly, didn't work, fired him after 3 years, went to Doug Peterson, won a Super Bowl for the first time in their franchise history, fired him, brought in Nick Sirianni, they're back in the Super Bowl. Bold franchise, ruthless.
And Iggy, and it was good for Reid. He went over to
was.
Kansas City and did well.
It was. And now they're
So
facing
what-
each other. Gotta love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine the questions at Super Bowl? So what's
Right.
it like to face Philly? Is it a comeback? Is it revenge? Oh, am I glad I'm not going to be there
Yeah.
for that stupidity. But in any event, so when people say essentially that Lowell is a moron for raising these questions, the 49ers raised these questions many years before.
Absolutely.
And with coaches as good or I think better than Kyle Shanahan. I'm going to take a breath for a minute. You go on,
Okay,
Iggy.
I'm going to keep going. So with Kyle, it's not just these failures in the playoffs. There's been 4 now, and it's like he invents ways to lose these games that he should to beat himself. He invents ways to beat himself every year. So that's just part of it, the playoff thing. But the other thing that's glaring is the quarterback injury thing. He really either can't keep quarterbacks healthy or doesn't really prioritize it. And the results are in. Jimmy Garoppolo, who everyone has called injury prone, wasn't injury prone before he came here, 7 injuries in 61 starts with the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan. Trey Lance, 3 injuries in 4 starts, 5 including the preseason one where he got hurt. Purdy, 2 injuries in 8 starts. CJ Beathard, completely freaking obliterated in 12 starts. Obliterated. If you can't keep a quarterback healthy, if that's not a priority to you, you're never going to win a Super Bowl. Ever. And the 1 year he didn't get a quarterback hurt was those 2 years with Matt Ryan when he was an offensive coordinator under Dan Quinn, who I'm sure during the week said, no, Kyle, we're not going to have our backup tight end block the best pass rusher in football. No one says no to Kyle Shanahan here because they can't. He's the head coach.
Yeah. Let's talk about a lot of people. I'm sorry, you.
Also,
you
RG3. I forgot. There's also RG3 from 10 years ago. Completely ruined his career.
Yeah. Now, let's go back to RG3. My impression was he was a real talent.
He was. Second pick in the draft. Rookie
Real
of the year.
talent. And Kyle and Mike Shanahan ruined him.
Yeah.
I don't see how they can look him in the eye. And frankly, I don't see how Kyle can look Brock Purdy in the eye after what he did to him. So I want to say this. In a lot of the crap that I'm getting on Twitter, that I'm a hater and all of this shit, there's one theme. These are routine injuries. Don't you know about football? Football's a violent sport. You know what? I know more than you do about football. My favorite sport is boxing. That's an even more violent sport. I know about violence, okay? I also know, let's just talk about what happened to Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. Iggy and I have said it a lot, but let's not screw around and say it again. Kyle Shanahan is what you call a scheme coach.
Yep.
As opposed to a football coach. Bill Walsh was a football coach. Kyle is a scheme coach like his dad. What it means is he sits in a room and it's quiet. And he either works on a board, a laptop, or he does it by hand. Bill Walsh did it by hand. And he draws up his plays. And his plays are gorgeous and they're wonderful. But he never says to himself, what happens on the field? What happens on the grass and the dirt? Because football isn't played in his little office. Football is played on grass and dirt with muscles and snot and blood. And when you have a play-action pass, your question has to be, is my quarterback going to be safe? Is my quarterback going to play the next play? Mm-hmm. So people say, well, the tight end ought to be able to make it. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. And Croft, I don't know him. He may be a very nice man. He is one of the worst players on the team.
Yeah.
He might be the worst player on offense.
And Kyle Shanahan let one of the worst players on the team determine the season.
Yeah. I mean, if this guy weren't playing football, he might be begging groceries at Safeway. He's Mr. Irrelevant.
Also, another thing, a good coach is look at the defense and they say, who is the guy on this defense that I can't let ruin the game? When people face the Niners, they're like, okay, that's Nick Bosa. We can't let Nick Bosa fucking destroy us. And that's what teams do. What did you think Hassan Reddick was? He came out almost like he thought Hassan Reddick was nobody. Like, this guy, who is this guy? I'm going to block him with my backup tight end. That was in the script, Dad. That was scripted. First drive of the game. Last week before, they gave Micah Parsons a lot of respect. Oh, my God, it's Mike. He's such a great player. Hassan Reddick, sorry, bud. And as a result, Hassan Reddick ended the game in the first quarter. Ended the game, the best player on their team. Kyle was like, I don't think he's that good. Oh, you do? Good scouting.
Also, Kyle said, well, a tight end ought to make a block like that. No. On the field.
Your right tackle couldn't block Hassan Reddick, but you want your backup tight end to do it.
Right.
He wasn't even active last week, Dad. He was inactive last week against Dallas.
Yeah, it's not again, I don't see how Kyle can look Croft in the eye. It's not fair to do that to him. If you want to run this play, and by the way, he revealed this play very early in the game. He could, as a play caller, what was the hurry to use it? But he had to use it at some point. But he's asking this really not particularly talented, not entity, to block this. What did he have, 17 and a half sacks?
Now he has 19 and a half.
Yeah, and it's not fair to Croft. It's certainly not fair to Brock Purdy. Look what happened to Brock Purdy. And it's not Croft's fault. And then, like a schmuck, he did it again.
On the next drive with Kittle. And Josh Johnson nope. No one can block Riddick. You got to double team him. He's the best player on the team. What are you doing?
So
what are you doing?
What Bill Walsh used to do was, who are my players? What are their strengths and weaknesses? How am I going to run this play on the goddamn field? And he was not a scheme coach. He was a real football coach. Right. And you know the distinction I'm making, Iggy.
Yeah.
Bill never would have had poor Croft blocking Reddick. It would have been insane. He would have run a different play, or he would have had different blocking. So what I want to say to all the people who say, Lowell's negative, Lowell's a hater. I don't hate Kyle, but I am critical. No, he screwed up.
Pass protection? Go ahead.
So what I want to say, he has a history of being a flop. He's never, in my opinion, going to get past it. It's who he is. And he gets quarterbacks hurt. He's never going to get past it. It's who he is. If Jed York had the courage that Eddie had, he would fire his ass.
Pass protection is not something Kyle Shanahan values, which means he's going to get quarterbacks hurt and he's not going to win the Super Bowl. Because no one gives an offensive coach credit for their pass protection. Look at that. Look at that blocking scheme. Yeah. You get credit for your running plays, all the different angles. You get credit for your patterns, the routes. You get credit for your pre-snap motion. People, oh my God, look at all this great stuff. But just blocking a quarterback, no one gives you credit. But you have to do it. Otherwise, but he won't. And what he'll always do is say, oh, well, the quarterback should have stepped up in the pocket. He could.
Oh, we got that one.
We could have stepped up. He could have thrown the ball away. He says it every time, and his fans eat it up. So hold on. Let me take this another way. You said they should fire his ass. I respectfully disagree, Dad. I love you. I think they should trade him, his contract, and his ego. I don't like the idea of firing him and letting him walk away with that contract. Trade the contract too. Let someone else handle, because if you fire him, you got to pay him like 20, whatever he's making for the rest. No. Take the contract, take the ego, send him to Indianapolis, get like two.
Send him to Houston.
Yeah, send him to Houston. Houston would be great for him. Because that's a complete rebuild, right? Let him do what he did with the.
Have every excuse.
Yeah, he could do whatever he wants. Go to Houston and send back a few first-round picks, trade him. And then fans would say, okay, well, who do you want to replace him with? Forget Sean Payton. I would replace him with the offensive coordinator from Philly. I would hire Shane Steichen. He's the number one offensive coach getting interviewed right now. He's from Sacramento. He developed Jalen Hurts. He coached Justin Herbert when he was a rookie. He's been in the league for more than 10 years. He's been a quarterback coach. He's been an offensive coordinator. Shane Steichen is who I would go with. And he comes from a pretty freaking good organization in Philly.
How do you spell Steichen?
Steichen. There's a CH.
I knew there was a CH in there.
There's a CH. It's not Steichen, though. It's Steichen.
It was a lurking CH, right?
Yeah. But he's from out here. It's a good job. And if you want Trey Lance to work out, well, this guy developed Jalen Hurts from a second-round pick into an MVP candidate. If you want Brock Purdy to work out, this guy could maybe keep him upright. That's what I like about him.
Here's the other thing. Steichen. Not Steichen. Steichen can develop a quarterback. I want to tell you who in his whole life will never develop a quarterback.
Does his name start with a K? Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah. He has no freaking clue
how
to develop. No, but he has a clue how to ruin a quarterback. Again, he doesn't get like a pulled hamstring. He gets the UCL tear. He gets a broken leg. He gets RG3 ruin the guy.
Real quick, the UCL thing. 2 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL have suffered this injury. Both of them are under Kyle Shanahan. Purdy and Mullins. That's it. 2 quarterbacks. Purdy and Mullins. Mullins too.
Yeah.
Mullins too.
Again, I do not see how Kyle can look Purdy in the eye because he got him hurt. He didn't mean to get him hurt. I'm not saying he's a bad person. Of course he didn't mean to get him hurt, but he was inadequate. He didn't go from his private room and his script to what's going to happen on the dirt and grass. And a real football coach, Joe Gibbs, Bill Walsh, does.
Right. And when I asked Kyle after the game about the play, he said, well, Brandon Ayuk was open. And that's always Kyle's answer. Well, my pattern worked. This pass pattern got this guy open against that coverage. Yes, but you couldn't block it. You couldn't protect your quarterback, so it doesn't matter. It's just academic. It's theoretical. Yeah. It worked in theory, but not in practice because your freaking backup tight end got destroyed by the best edge rusher in the game, and your quarterback got hurt, and now we can't play next year, and now you have a huge freaking problem at quarterback, and we should trade you.
You know what, Iggy? I say fire him, but you say trade him. Fine by me. I'd like to trade him to Houston. I would love that.
How many first-round picks do you think Houston would give up for him? Oh, my God, it's Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, my God, Shanahan.
Oh, my God, he give us instant credibility. Yep.
And not only that.
Yeah.
We can get his father, too.
The network. And then he'll take us to the AFC Championship game, and he'll freaking lose. It'll be great. Can't wait. So anyway, that's our solution. Let's answer some questions. Todd says, if Kyle got fired, who would you hire? Sean Payton? Steichen.
He said Steichen.
Steichen? Weary Nut says the Niners really need to look into the quarterback from UCLA. He is just as good as Justin Fields and a better thrower, more experienced than Trey. He's little. I like Tyler Huntley. I like him, though. You can probably get him late in the draft. DTR. Jason Lutt says, Cohn Zone request, I'd love to hear a weekly story from Lowell about his time around the team during the offseason. I love when they pop into your show. Okay. Well, if we can think of one, we will.
But today we're kind of worked up.
We're worked up. Chris says, time to trade. Chris, eye to eye with me. Time to trade Kyle. He's proven that he's not the guy. He's unable to adjust to game situations or make basic head coaching decisions.
No shit.
LZ says, Kyle never used a timeout the whole game.
Wow. Oh, Iggy, we haven't talked about that timeout. Could we talk about oh my God, when Smith caught that? Could you talk about that a little? What a flop. Take us through that one.
So Devontae, it's 4th and 3 on the 35. Devontae Smith catches the ball at like the 6-yard line. He didn't catch it. The initial replay didn't show it, but he gets up and is frantically doing this, which means let's run another play right now. I didn't catch the ball. And Kyle Shanahan didn't pick up on that. I guess he was waiting around for another replay, and they got off the play, and he just was standing there with his hand in his pocket. What he could have done was call a timeout and wait for more replays and then challenge the thing. But he's like, no, I might need these 3 first-half timeouts later in the game. And he lost the game right there because he was saving first-half timeouts for later. It's one of the most mind-numbingly bad decisions It was kind of like when I was a little kid and Chris Webber called for that timeout in the Final Four that he didn't have.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, except the opposite. He didn't call something that he had. It's amazing. And they lost.
Iggy, wasn't Hufanga also indicating he thought it was?
Yeah, Hufanga. Hufanga went up to Kyle and was like, hey, he wasn't a catch. He was like, nah, sorry. I don't trust you.
I don't even trust you.
I don't even trust you.
Iggy, not impressed. Not impressed. I got to tell you.
He's either not good enough or he is the most unlucky head coach of all time, in which case, why would you want his bad luck in the organization anyway? Go take that bad luck elsewhere, man.
No, but
Who
it's
needs
not
it?
bad luck.
It's not bad luck. No.
Errol
says, Grant, I enjoy your channel, but please work on your audio. When you stream in your mic, it's hard to listen. Sorry. I'm going to get a new thing this week, I promise. Now that I'm done with the season.
Does it mean you're too loud?
Yeah. I'm trying to move it away from my mouth so I don't yell into it.
You can turn that thing
I'm
down.
trying to turn it. Chase McDude says, D'Amico was interviewing during the week and still looked more prepared than Shannon Choke. The constant excuses and dismissals are tiresome. I don't understand why he has such a devoted following of fans. Like, he's not a champion.
Well, I have a theory. Iron Miller and I used to have this theory. Fans, not all fans, of course, but fans tend to go with the established organization. Yeah. And if you disagree with them, you're a schmuck. And so you and I are schmucks and we're haters.
Right. Yeah, no, but there's also this national media that love him, and I think it's because of his dad, and his dad was a champion, so he's like a champion by proxy. Kyle's a champion because he was the ball boy in the 1994 Niners. He was in the locker room, Dad. You can't quantify the effect he had on the players' emotional state. Just the way he would pick up their equipment. He was great at it.
His father, didn't he get fired at 3 places?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just making sure. Julio says, keep up the remarkable work. Kings. Thank you. 1121 Music says, I wouldn't fire him unless you know for certain Sean Payton is in the bag. Kyle's weaknesses are fixable. Maybe bring in an outside consultant with an objective viewpoint as his advisor.
No. It's not fixable. I want to be really clear on that. Like Larry Krueger, who is my friend and I really, really admire, I humbly disagree with Larry on this.
Larry.
Well, I say Larry because I'm from New York. They're not fixable. That's the whole point.
He's the same guy every year.
He is who he is. He has tragic flaws, and he's never going to get past that. And if you feel they're fixable, I think you're living in illusion.
He's also unapologetically himself. He makes I'm who I am. This is all bad luck. I'm never making a change. Yeah.
And or somebody else's fault.
Yeah, the quarterback should step out of the pocket.
They're out to get me.
They're out to get me. Yeah, I'm objectively great. I'm never making a change, and I'm actually sticking to my guns for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Why would I capitulate to Grant Cohn? He doesn't know what he's talking about. If his weaknesses are fixable. So him improving again would have to be him acknowledging that he isn't as good as he thinks he is, holding himself accountable for his mistakes, and growing. When does he ever do that? His ego won't allow him to do that.
His deficiencies would be fixable if he got a brain transplant.
Yeah, if he was someone else.
Someone else.
Josh Wyatt says, is it possible that no coach can succeed in an organization where the standards have been set up from the top for decades as be relevant as cheap as you can? Is that really? That's a good question.
Here's what. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not in the building. I don't feel, but I will. I want to linger here. I'm going to call it Jed, but it's just, his mother and father own the team, not him. I think his mother does. He does not have the passion to win that Eddie did.
Right.
He doesn't. That's all. He doesn't have the passion. Iggy, one time, I think I told you this. It wasn't a playoff game. It was a game at Candlestick. And, after a certain amount of time, the media is allowed in, okay? They had lost. Eddie was out of his freaking mind. And there was a phone along the wall. I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe it was it was the same as the baseball locker room. So maybe it was to call the bullpen or I don't know. He had ripped the phone off the wall. And now he had the disembodied phone with a little, the cord sticking out. It looked like an animal. He was
like he'd beheaded an animal, right? Yeah,
he beheaded an animal.
Yeah, he was holding it by the
and
hair.
He was screaming. And listen, that was my column. Him and the phone. I know I hated me. And I got to tell you another thing. One time they got beat in New Orleans, and according to what Bill told me, Eddie went crazy in front of the team. Took a can of Coke and threw it through the window of the Coke machine. I can't verify, but Bill will tell me that. And Bill said to him, "Get away from my team."
Wow.
That's what Bill told me that.
Wow.
So what I'm saying is, hold on. Eddie's behavior wasn't always polite, but he goddamn well wanted to win, and he would do whatever happens. Jed, he seems to be happy to lose in the championship game, and to have a coach that he'll go, "Oh gee, bad luck, you lost your quarterback, but you're okay by me, Kyle." Bullshit.
Okay, so that's a great reference too, but let's just compare the Niners to the Eagles, the team the Niners just lost to, and they're going to have to go through the next few years. They seem to have an owner who's like that, who has the highest standards. I mean, they don't seem to settle for being relevant. They, if they fire coaches all the time. They won the Super Bowl a few years ago. They're back in the Super Bowl this year. They just seem to be much more cutthroat than the 49ers. And if the Niners are going to beat the Eagles eventually, they're going to have to be more like the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're going to have to be more like the Eagles, I think.
And Iggy, in addition, to be more like the Eagles, they have to have a better O-line and D-line.
Yeah, I agree. How do you feel about LaShawn McCoy saying the Eagles' win wasn't impressive? Makes me feel like if Kyle would have kept Purdy healthy, we would have won.
You know what? Maybe. We don't know. I wasn't all that impressed by the Eagles. I certainly wasn't all that impressed by Jalen Hurts. And I would say it's a fair question. Who the hell knows the answer?
On the other hand, I think the Eagles did the right thing. Brock Purdy gets injured. They just went safety first conservative mode. Like, why would you do anything else? You know who would? Kyle, you know what? Oh, I really want to show off these plays that I drew up this week. We're going to run them. No, dude, that quarterback's hurt. Just put your offense in the garage and win the freaking game. What Philly did was run the ball and not turn the ball over. But they didn't look that impressive. Okay, but they won by 24 points. And their quarterback didn't get hurt, right? He didn't get hurt. Right. And they're going to be, okay, so I think they did, it's an impressive win when you win by 24 points. They didn't beat themselves.
Nope.
Grant says Jimmy Garoppolo broke his arm in New England in his third start. Hey, you separated his shoulder. You're right. Tell him, Lowell, gloves off. Homers are too much, says Chase McDude.
Thank you.
Chase McDude. You think that's his real name? I bet it is.
Okay.
Artemis says fire whoever drafted Kinlaw over Hall of Fame talent Wirfs. You know what? Here's the thing. Howie Roseman in Philly, great GM. He misses picks all the time. He drafted some offensive tackle from Washington State a few years. It's total bust. Happens. I think John Lynch is doing a great job.
I want to say something else. A lot of people are piling on Javon Kinlaw.
Yeah.
I don't like it. He's coming off a serious injury. He rehabbed. He did well. I don't know. Did he do so badly in the game? I mean, was it his fault they lost?
It seemed like the whole team was bad. But it's like, can we talk about the head coach, not the defensive tackle who's coming off an injury? You know what I mean?
It's not Kinlaw. It's not the story.
No, it's
the
Kyle.
Head coach. Yeah.
Kyle thinks he is the key, not the quarterback. He cares as much for the quarterback's welfare as he does a backup special teamer. He views quarterbacks as interchangeable.
Absolutely true. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, and let me even go further. I don't know the dude. I don't think he has empathy. I think he sees football players as objects. I don't think he sees them as people. Dusty Baker, one of the reasons he's a great manager and just won the World Series, he sees his players as people. I would be in the clubhouse, and if there was a guy who was down in a slump, Dusty would come in the morning with a special dessert for the guy. It didn't make Dusty a wimp. He knew how to relate to people and get people to work. That's important. Kyle, to him, they're X's and O's on a sheet of paper.
Yeah. Or they're characters on Madden.
Yeah.
In a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, sorry, it's football. How many times have we heard him say versions of that? It's football. Or he should have stepped up.
Then you know what? Fire his ass. That's football too.
That's true. Love the show. Thanks for bringing us great content, Patrick Rico. And people are going to say, thank you, Patrick. Well, if you fire Kyle, he gets hired again in 2 minutes. Were the Eagles afraid of that when they fired Andy Reid? No. Do they regret it? No. Should we call Shanahan? Let him go wherever he wants.
Let him go to Houston.
Should we call Shanahan Kyle the QB killer?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Lowell, they're all schmucks, Twitter trolls, says Connor Cope. Schmucks. Trade him to Denver, says Gabriel. Yes, trade him to the highest bidder.
Denver would be a good place. He's got a quarterback in Denver.
He's got a quarterback. I'd love to hear what you guys think about my Shane Steichen suggestion. Todd Labor says, even if Brock was healthy, the Eagles would win because they were playing man-on-man defense and the receivers weren't getting open downfield and they were stopping the run as well. No chance in hell. Sorry to say I'm a Niner fan. They did beat the Niners up in the trenches too. Timothy Nichols says, thank you, Lowell. People have been murdering me for blaming Kyle, but it's 100% his fault. No number 6 while he's our coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Niners daddy says if Lance is QB1 due to Brock's injury and Kyle runs him up the middle again week 1, is that a fireable offense? Yeah, that's the other thing. So let's say you keep Kyle Shanahan, which they will, and then Brock Purdy comes back and Trey Lance comes back. He'll get him hurt again.
Yeah.
He's not going to change. He's not going to be like, okay, I need to do something a little different this time. He will get them. How many times did he get Jimmy Garoppolo hurt? 7.
Okay, here's the other thing I want to say. He's already done fireable offenses. He doesn't need another one. I think he should get fired.
Gizmo Maltese says, I'm not down with firing Kyle, but I'm here for roasting Kyle for ignoring Riddick. If you get to the NFC Championship 3 to 4 years, you can win the Super Bowl. Need luck. He needs luck.
No, he doesn't need luck. And listen, I read stuff. I read a lot of columns and opinion, and that they lost the game because it was bad luck. Bullshit. That's bad luck. It's because they got out-coached and he screwed himself.
He's been playing the bad luck card for 4 years in a row. In 2019, it was Nick Bosa got held on 3rd and 15. In 2020, they had a lot of injuries. In 2021, Jaquaski Tart dropped a gimme interception. In 2022, Purdy got hurt.
Yeah.
Bad luck.
A lot of bad luck.
4 quarterbacks got hurt. Jim Harbaugh was not a champ as a player or coach either. He got as close but couldn't finish. Shanahan is similar. I don't think he can pass the hurdle. Agree?
I think that's a very fair comment.
Jared says, like my dad used to say, you either robbed the bank or you didn't. He got Purdy hurt. Yeah, he didn't rob the bank. He thought about it. He walked into the bank, and then he left. Julio says, if there were checks and balances in SF, Kyle would have been traded a long time ago, but it can happen eventually. Niner Boss Talk says, I'm not saying fire Kyle, but I'm starting to feel like Andy Reid in Philly. They fired him. At a certain point, it's not going to work. Like, what did Bill say? At a certain point, they tune you out. Your message doesn't get across anymore.
Well, Bill felt even for him.
Yeah.
And he was a 3-time Super Bowl winner. He said after about 10 years, they don't listen to you anymore. They don't hear you anymore.
Yeah. And
the problem with the Niners, is that they hear him. The problem, it would be better if they didn't hear him.
That's funny. Start the movement codes. Trade Kyle. Love it.
I love it. I love it.
Love it. When was the last time the Niners played a complete game? That's what I was saying going into the playoffs. It's been a month and a half or 2. And they kept saying, well, we can just turn it on. No, you don't just turn it on. The Eagles were on. They showed it the week before. Shreddy Murphy says, Jed won't fire Shanahan. Raiders will outbid the Niners for Brady. Shanahan will call Hail Mary and trade Trey to Minnesota for Kirk Cousins. Oh, my God. If he brings in Jed, you can't let this happen. You got to trade Kyle before he trades for Kirk Cousins. Please.
Yeah, I don't want
Jed.
He's a loser.
Loser. Didn't Montana have the same injury? Torn UCL?
I think, hold on. It's a long time ago for me. I know he did have an elbow injury and a back injury. I do know that. Can I say one other thing, though? Mm-hmm. They didn't protect quarterbacks the way they do now.
Yeah.
Joe was not protected. And so you can't really compare. Here is an era. Let's be real clear on this. This is an era where if you blow on a quarterback, you get unsportsmanlike
If you
conduct.
look at him the wrong way.
If you land on him wrong, you got to. And here is Kyle getting his quarterbacks destroyed in an era that protects quarterbacks. Oh,
It's beyond comprehension.
yeah.
And it's amazing that people have his back so strenuously. Ayuk liked a picture of himself in a Giants uniform. Ooh, this is going to be fun. It's that time of the offseason where you have to check out social media accounts. Well, that seems pretty on brand for Brandon. Plebe says, what further separates the Eagles and the 49ers besides the O-line and D-line is the organizational ability to change head coaches when they ran their course. Yes. And I think we're saying is this guy has ran his course. I mean, these last 2 seasons were exactly the same.
Yeah. And next season would be the same again. He'd
Yep.
get off to a slow start.
Get hot, losing the playoffs.
Get hot. Absolutely. And have to play the championship game on the road because he got off to a slow start.
Yeah, go through a bunch of quarterbacks, blame injuries, say you had bad luck, and say that it was really impressive that you overcame so much adversity.
Right. And the quarterback didn't step up in the pocket.
Playing quarterback for Kyle Shanahan is like getting casted for Final Destination movie. You haven't seen those, but
No.
I like that. I like that. I love it how you both tell it how it is. I just wish they could hear you keep it up. Oh, they can hear us. They just choose not to listen. Papa Cohn, remember Joe got knocked out 2 versus Giants 86. Jim Burt, LT pick 6. We lost 43-6. Be fair.
I just said it was a different era. They did not protect Joe the way they protect Brady right now. You cannot. That's 40 years ago. It was a different game.
Also,
If
Bill Walsh
they-
never went through 4 quarterbacks in a season. No one ever has. That was the first.
Really?
Yeah. That was a new one.
Yeah. I think it's a land speed record.
Yeah, a legendary answer says our fan base is so scared that we will go back into those dark times that we want to hold on to Kyle Banana Hands like a hubcap in a fast lane. Fire him. Yeah, whenever you say, hey, fire Kyle or trade Kyle, people are like, oh, so you want to go back to Jim Tom Sula? Wait a second. Trent Baalke's gone. This is John Lynch and one of the best rosters in football. You don't think you could hire someone as good or better than Kyle Shanahan? You don't think the top guys on the market would want to come here? Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? I'm just saying. Shreddy Murphy says only John York can say the Niners overstep Jed, fire Kyle. John York. Maybe this is a John York decision. Maybe this is a Denise decision.
Maybe Denise. You never heard that song, right?
Denise, I never heard it.
I'm so
Andy, I'm getting a new one, I promise. Corey Soto says, today. I'm getting it today. People say Lance is a bust, and he's not. I think it might be more Kyle doesn't know how to manage him. A la RG3, not to mention he hasn't embraced him like a real coach.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, you think?
You think?
Yeah, and people are saying, like, this shows the Niners need a quarterback. No, it shows they need a head coach. They had a quarterback in Brock Purdy. Purdy isn't the reason that he got hurt. Purdy isn't the reason that they lost. 7NP says, Lowell, why do you think the Bay Area media and some in this fan base always damage control for this team? Is it because people are living off the success of the 49ers past? Shouldn't the standard be higher? I love this question.
Okay, I'm going to answer it. A couple of things. If Kyle were coaching in Philly or New York, he would be hung in effigy.
Yeah.
I am a New Yorker. Although I've lived here since 1966, I think like a New Yorker, and in certain ways Iggy does because I brought him up. And we are taught to be very straightforward, honest, and blunt. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the sports writers and sports commentators in the Bay Area are from California. Mm-hmm. And it's a different, everybody wants to be polite. Have a nice day. How are you? All of that stuff. It's not how I think. Plus, since the age of Twitter and social media, writers about a team want to show their editors or their bosses that they have a lot of action on Twitter, or if they're enterprising enough on YouTube, which most of them are not. So they need,
but they need a lot of followers and likes. How do you get that?
Followers.
How do you get that?
By kissing up to the team.
Whereas, if you do what we do and you say call like it is, what you do is you lose followers.
Right.
You lose followers. You lose your job.
So it's economically difficult for, you name them, to say what Iggy and I say, because the editor may say, look, you lost followers on Twitter and you don't have a YouTube account. And so they become sycophants, ass kissers. I never was, because I wrote for a newspaper and a lot of people read me, so it was not an issue. Iggy is self-employed. Now, he works for SportsIllustrated.com, but it's as a contractor.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful gig, and it got him this start. He's self-employed, and on YouTube, which is his other thing, he's self-employed, so he's not in the least bit beholden. So if, let's say, Eric Armstead doesn't want to answer his question, who gives a shit? He doesn't need Eric Armstead. He doesn't need Eric Armstead to like him because he doesn't need any quotes from him. He can say what he thinks about Eric Armstead, which is, Iggy, he's a pretty good player, but not an impact player.
Yeah, and what's funny, a lot of people say, the Cohns just are negative for attention, but other people just tell it like it is. No, other people are overly positive for social media gain. And actually, when I read it, it's like, you don't even believe it. You're just saying it because it's going to give you more followers and you're playing the game. Whereas I'm doing this working against the current. I'm swimming against the current over here. And the people who recognize what we're doing like us for even trying to do it because they know that it's so not what you do in sports journalism in 2023. It's a quick way to get a quick exit.
Now, listen, you're swimming against the current. I can't do that anymore. I'm on one of those inflatable tubes.
Those are
and
fun.
I'm tubing against the current. And you're pulling
drinking
me.
a Mai Tai? Drinking a Mai Tai?
And you're pulling me.
Yeah.
But I'm going against the current.
I like it. Snakehorn says Niners D was vulnerable to the deep pass this year, and eventually they're going to get tested next year. Who could they pick up or draft to help? How about another pass rusher that teams have to worry about other than Nick Bosa?
Yeah, that would
How
be
about
nice.
one other freaking guy that you have to worry about other than Nick Bosa? Because it seemed like by the end of the year, teams were finding ways to kind of neutralize him, and there was no one else that could hurt the other teams.
Iggy, I thought the last month of the season, God love Bosa, he's a wonderful player. He was either tired or hurt.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
El Papa Cohn, what do the Niners need to do to fix their problems this offseason? Also, what would Bill do? Kyle needs a cleansing by a witch doctor. Cleansing.
Okay. What would Bill do? If Bill were the president of the team, he would fire Kyle. I'll tell you that right now. He wouldn't
Fire
put up
Kyle.
with-
Trade
Yeah,
Kyle.
he would.
Trade Kyle, get 2 first-round picks, sign a defensive tackle, a right tackle, an edge rusher. Make a push. Make a push right now.
I'm not going to say specifically who Bill talked about, but after Bill retired, we talked all the time. And he had some very hard things to say about subsequent 49er coaches. And some of these were better coaches than this guy.
Yep. Jalen played hurt, ran on us, had cocktails mid-game. Lowell looked like Larry David.
Hey, listen,
A little bit.
I got it. Well, hold on. We're about the same age, and we're from pretty much the same neighborhood in Brooklyn. Of course, he's a genius, and I'm just a schmuck. But I'm from Flatbush. It's a big neighborhood in Brooklyn, the Jewish neighborhood, and I'm from a part of it called Midwood, and Iggy knows it very well. Larry David was from Sheepshead Bay. If you go down Ocean Avenue, right to a bay, and it's kind of nice there, and he went to Sheepshead Bay High School. So we're very similar. Now, a lot of people say I look like Bernie Sanders. Here's what I want to say. I'm honored to look like Larry David. Bernie Sanders is such a whiner and kvetcher. He's from Midwood in Flatbush, and he went to Madison High School right down Bedford Avenue. I went to Midwood High School, and we were sort of the rival smart high schools. But I'm honored to be compared to Larry David.
What about Bernie Birnbaum?
People don't know who Bernie Birnbaum is.
The Schmata Kid. I feel like the Super Bowl windows is closed for the 49ers.
No, I don't think it's closed. But here's the thing. Next year, Kyle's going to close it again.
It'll never be open. And yeah.
He's the
It'll
official
open.
door.
It'll open.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish. He's the official door closer. That's his job. Hey, you see the door? I'm going to close it now.
Niner Boss Talk says, didn't Howie draft Rieger over Jefferson? Yes, and he drafted that offensive tackle who didn't work out. Even the best GMs miss, which is why you got to be active in free agency too. Brendan Harrison says 2 years in a row of ending in the season in unexplainable games. No more excuses for or next year's. When Chris Long compared us to the 90s Bills, I puked. Yeah, the Niners really carry themselves like they're this special team of champions that's going to be remembered fondly for all time. But if they don't win a championship, they're just going to be looked at as a team that missed their opportunity.
Hold on. The Bills got into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like 3 times in a row, right?
Yeah. So they're not as good as those Bills.
True. Anoop says, Lowell Cohn dead on right. This offseason is about Jed being bold and moving on from Kyle. Jed is on the clock. Niners beat Philly with healthy Purdy.
I think it's possible.
Shane Steichen could get hired today. So, Jed, make a move. Trade some people. Steichen. Also, team, especially D, became undisciplined when they lost Purdy. This game could have been closer if Kyle Shanahan would have galvanized team, kept them composed. Yeah, they had Josh Johnson in there, and they did freaking nothing with him in there.
Hold on. I want to say something.
Yeah.
And this is very important. And this is on both Kyle and D'Amico. When it became clear that things were chaotic, that defense, which is an all-time great defense, really great, with great performers, lost its mind.
Yeah.
It's now in football, you can't begin to fight or you can't begin to get stupid penalties. And I know maybe there was some stuff with the officiating, but the guy in the booth, the expert, he thought the calls were good.
Yeah.
Greenlaw punching like that.
Greenlaw punching, Hufanga after the play out of bounds, Trent Williams body slamming the guy, like the whole team.
Yeah,
the whole team.
So when the whole team came apart, but that disciplined offense, again, I always do boxing. There are certain fighters who were very good when things were going well. Jerry Quarry was it's a better example. Tyson was great when he was kicking your ass.
That's the Niners.
Yeah, but when you fight back, he bites your ear. When you fight back, he loses it, and that's what the defense did, and I was very disappointed.
The Niners are a bully. And Tyson was a bully, and when he came across a bigger bully in Evander Holyfield, he came undone. He beat himself. He got disqualified. First he got knocked out, then he got disqualified. Yeah. The Niners are Tyson at this point.
I love it.
Characters on Madden? How dare you suggest Kyle plays Madden? LOL, if he played, he'd probably coach better. That's true. KS for P. Sertan 2. Who says no? Den is desperate. Sertan is a phenomenal player. I like that. Only way to let Kyle go is to trade him for 2 first-rounders and give one to the Saints for Peyton. No unproven OCs like Eagles OC. Brady is sure coming, and Trey will traded too. Peyton doesn't like Lance. I don't like any of that, what you just said. I mean, I like the 2 first-rounders, but Brady and Trey and Peyton,
we're gonna get to Brady.
We need Eddie back.
No,
it's not coming
Eddie
back.
Here's the deal. Could I say something?
Yeah.
God love Eddie, and we sort of get along now. Eddie's in my generation. We're done. The baby boomers are done. We should get out of leading sports and we should get out of politics. Let younger people do it.
I agree, but it seems like we all want you guys to still continue to lead the way. And for every time, you guys are come on, please help. Joshua Wyatt says, hate to interrupt the group therapy, but we aren't going to fire Kyle. What fans should focus on is putting pressure on the Yorks to sell the team. Well, that's not going to happen either.
Yeah,
that's really
right. That's realistic. They make so much money on that goddamn team. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Niners badly lost time of possession battle. Defense was exhausted. Yeah, I thought that offensive coordinator for Philly did a really good job not beating himself. Thank you for the $5. We're almost back to our show. Was expecting Kyle Shanahan to start the game with quick passing due to the rush, similar to how the Pats did against the Legion of Boom. Play action on third play. Yeah, 7-step drop, play action on third play. Ambitious.
And again, why would you even show that play that early?
Because you want to show off in the NFC Championship game.
Got it.
I mean, are you kidding? Because his ego is more important than anything, Dad. Meanwhile, Shane Steichen over there had a very meager game plan. Everyone says he wasn't that impressive, but he won.
I want to say, as my Aunt Sarah used to say, schmucky yucky. Remember Aunt Sarah?
Schmucky yucky.
Schmucky yucky.
Firing Kyle will be a huge mistake. The whole league is trying to hire his offensive coaches, especially out of the Shanahan system. Coach of the year to firing. Trade.
Fire.
Teach gave Kyle an F's. Teach gave Kyle an F's because he never turned work in. Quanda Goat says, what's up, Cones? We needed Kyle to change, but no, this dude is a spoiled kid in a man's body. Tired of him wasting our talents in 2, possibly 3 Super Bowls with his ego. Playoffs football is matchups, not scheme, you schmuck. Wow.
Agree. This schmuck, though, has a S-C-H in it.
Yeah.
It's S-C-H-M-U-K.
That's the most important thing anyone learned today is how to spell schmuck. But Quanda Goat, that's a $20 donation. It was so good because he's the GOAT. I'm going to read it one more time. What's up, Cones? We needed Kyle to change, but no! This dude is a spoiled kid in a man's body, tired of him wasting our talents in 2, possibly 3 Super Bowls with his ego. Playoff football is matchups, not scheme, you smuck.
I love it. Love it.
It's matchups. It's matchups.
It's matchups.
It's matchups. Noah says, I thought we were done with hypotheticals. We all know there is no way in hell Jed trades or fires Kyle. Would be interesting to pair TB12 and Sean Payton. Man.
No, you know what we're doing? Hold on. I preface this by saying they're not going to fire him.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is we're criticizing him.
Yeah.
We're saying why he deserves to be fired. I know these people are not going to fire him. They don't have the courage to do it. They don't have the vision to do it. But it's fair to criticize the guy and to explain why he's inadequate and why he's going to be inadequate. He's going to be inadequate every year.
Yeah. Yeah. But he'll fool you between October 15th and January 15th. For 3 months every year, you're going to be like, oh, he's better now. No. Jim Harbaugh, please come back. I would actually like to find someone new.
Yeah.
Not a high-level loser. A champion. That's someone who can become a champion.
Harbaugh cannot work with Jed.
No, that can't happen.
Can't happen.
Has a coach ever been fired after winning Coach of the Year? Even if it's the right move, I don't see how you do that. Well, he hasn't won Coach of the Year yet.
Is he coach? Is he coach?
He hasn't won Coach of the Year yet. No, he hasn't won that.
I mean, for example, I think the guy in Philly has done a better job than he did this year.
I would have to say so.
And maybe the
he
guy,
just beat him.
Maybe the guy in Cincinnati has done a better job than he did this year.
Is the CA attitude of getting a trophy for trying? It's the CA attitude of getting a trophy for trying. I transferred offices from NY to SF and faced the same issues at work. Bad performance is rewarded.
Boy, do I understand that. The culture here is extremely soft.
Kyle needs to get the right side of O-line situated. Yep. Or John.
Among other things.
I see your frustration with many of Kyle Shanahan's decisions, but you have to acknowledge how difficult it is to coach around the lack of skill on the O-line. Well, if he valued pass protection.
Get a better O-line.
Get a better O-line. Jeffrey N says the NFL is a business. If your CEO doesn't make a profit, you dump him or her, period. In the NFL, the head coach is the CEO, accountable for the company's success or failure, win or get fired.
I'm with you.
Fired.
That's how I feel. Fire him.
Alden Smith is available. No. Fire Kyle, sure, but who's a better replacement? Sean Payton, okay, but maybe who else? Wouldn't that start a rebuild situation that nobody wants? Again, look at Steichen. JG working out new deal. BP starter equals 2023 curse. No. Garoppolo, go. Just give me another Pro Bowl tackle, tight end, wide receiver, running back, DN, linebacker, safety, and we got this, fam. Even with all that, Kyle Shanahan might find a way to lose.
No, not right. No, hold on.
Yeah.
Will. Let's get our verbs right. He is a man who finds a way to flop.
Yes.
He is a flopperooski.
He's a flopperooski. It's like we're talking Greek tragedy here. He is fated to do this for all of eternity.
Yes,
Lowell is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Jared says, "Love you guys. You made my workday much better. I needed a chuckle today. Keep up the good work. Thanks. We are dead serious. What are you laughing about?" Kyle, Solid, McDaniel, all injured 3+ quarterbacks. You're right. You're right. They all went through 3 this year. That's not good. D'Amico, don't carry on that tradition. Zachary Kellaway says, I cannot believe you guys are saying fire Kyle and indicting him. 12 wins in a row was hard for you because you dislike him so much. Kyle is this team. If Kyle is this team, they got a big problem because they never get past. They never win the big one. Yeah, but Zachary Kellaway really likes the fact that he really likes rooting for a third place team. He's got a big bronze trophy in his living room. Who saw Joey Bosa getting hated on in a Niner jacket? Is it possibly comes to help next year?
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so. More Bosas. More Bosas. Bring in Glenn Schumann from Georgia as DC. Okay. Schumann. All right. Let's get 53 minutes into the show. Let's get into our second topic. Dad, why was Josh Johnson playing in an NFC Championship game for the 49ers?
Okay. Because I have an answer for that.
Yeah.
Here's why. Because Kyle Shanahan is a genius.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
He had Josh Johnson because he's a genius, and for him it doesn't matter who the quarterback is because the scheme is so freaking good. Yeah. He could have poor Josh Johnson, who I respect. He's an Oakland native. God love him. Yeah. But he knew it doesn't really matter who plays quarterback because Kyle is so, and his blocking schemes. Now, you saw that Josh Johnson went through that game and didn't get hurt at all. He didn't get hurt at all. No. I mean, Iggy, the poor guy almost got killed. Did you see his head bounce off the turf?
Yeah.
So what I want to say is, hello, McFly. McFly, if Kyle were actually thinking of football as about players and not scheme, he would say, this is a very important game. And as much as I like Josh Johnson is a camp quarterback. He really has not made it. He's been on a lot of teams, and he's not really had a lot of experience lately. Are there other options for this game?
It's like signing a coach. I'm sure he was great in the meetings and practice and all that stuff, but what if he has to play?
Yeah.
Because your pattern is that your backups have to play. They have to be ready to go. And there were guys out there like who had played in playoff games available, like Cam Newton.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is you didn't expect this other guy to be as good as Brock Purdy, but you expected him to be a pro quarterback. And poor Josh, I don't think is at this time. No. So again, it's another example of Kyle not being a good head coach, not thinking it through.
And being arrogant. Oh, let's have Josh Johnson. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. So Iggy, hold on. So now poor Josh Johnson, he's out of the game. So let's just talk about the comedy of errors. Now he has to bring back Brock, who's already needs surgery, and he has him being the quarterback and even has him throw a few short passes. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? How do you think his agent felt about that? How do you think his parents felt about that?
Yeah, he can't play and he's going with this stuff. And then he had Juszczyk and CMC on the sideline talking to them about maybe putting a microphone in their receiver in their helmet, and they'll be the quarterback. At that point, I said, this is a joke. And what's more, the joke was Kyle.
Yes.
The joke was, he was the clown. Bring in the clowns. Bring in the clown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not Juszczyk, but can you imagine Juszczyk at quarterback? Oh, he's going to bring him back.
No, it was.
If not him, CMC, he threw a pass one time. He'll bring him back.
But Kyle Shanahan wants to prove that quarterback. Like someone said earlier, quarterback's interchangeable. It's not as important as it seems. Anyone could play quarterback on this team in this system, except Josh Johnson. Except for the 37-year-old guy who's been a career backup and probably shouldn't be in the league anymore. There are better options out there.
Yeah.
There were guys. Cam Newton. Probably even Colin Kaepernick would have been a better option. But I bet you there's 24 guys who are younger and more experienced than Josh Johnson who are available. And he went with Josh. Sorry, Josh.
I just want to say, again, Josh, it's not personal. I have the utmost respect for you. But I'm talking about Kyle. And again, Iggy, if you made a list of Kyle Shanahan's football sins, it would take up 2 pages.
Oh, absolutely. I think I've done that before, but I think it's time to add to it. I think I have a few dozen to add to that list.
Oh, and another thing, before you get to another topic, you know how we always talk about we'll have a dinner of football people at my house because it's bigger than yours. And there's a lot of people we put around the main table, but you can't get everybody there, so we have the children's table. We were flirting with the idea of putting Kyle at the main table, with Walsh and with Seifert and with John Lynch. Mm-hmm. Iggy, he is firmly at the children's table.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
yes.
And he says, "Could I have a little wine?
Yeah, maybe next year.
Have you been a good boy?
Maybe next year.
We'll mix it with a little water. Yeah.
Jeez, children's table for Kyle. Remember a couple of months ago, people were saying, about a month ago, people were saying, what if will Kyle Shanahan be considered the greatest coach of all time if he wins a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy as a rookie? Well, it didn't happen.
No, and I said at the time, let's see what happens. So again, people were pissed at me because I wouldn't say during the season he's an all-time great coach. Hey, check this out. He's not an all-time great coach.
Driz says, so sad to see the season end like this, turning into some sort of pep rally carnival event with CMC and Juice warming up to see if they could play quarterback. Oh, my God. Yeah, what an embarrassing way to go out. Ayuk liked to pick of himself in a New York Giants uniform. That's a good start to the offseason. It's a great start to the offseason. The passive aggression. And then I'll make a video about it, and then somebody, well, why are you talking? It's like, okay, you didn't do anything. Harris, Dollar, thank you. MD, no on Sean Payton. Who the hell said Sean Payton? Keep Trey and Purdy. Fire Kyle. He deserved it when he ran Lance between the tackles.
Oh, absolutely.
Lincoln was very loud and hostile. A big factor is that impacted the game. Well, Kyle thinks it's cool to just kind of screw around for a month and a half and then get it together, which is why they played in Philly. Over under 2.5 quarterbacks getting hurt next season with Kyle Shanahan at head coach. What you got? Over under. Over.
He got 2 in one game.
2 and 1/2. Was it 2 and 1/2? 2 and 2. Lowell, you are in rare form. It's like you have FU money and can just speak truth to power. You are a treasure, and the Bay Area is lucky to have you. And Grant, thank you.
Thank you, but it's not money, because I ain't got that much money. I'm retired. What are they going to say?
What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
What are they going to do, huh?
I'm retired. I can say whatever the hell I want. But I have to tell you, when I was a columnist, I was the same way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What I want to say is, you've seen me. I'm a nice person.
You are.
I'm a good father. I was a good husband. I'm a nice guy. But when it comes to this, my job is to tell the truth.
Right.
I don't care if the players like me. It has nothing to do with it. I don't care when Jed doesn't like me. I don't care if Jed likes me. We see each other. We sort of grunt. He's not my friend. I don't care. I have no investment in having relationships with those people. I have an investment in having a relationship with my readers and my listeners, and I tell them the truth. They're the people I'm accountable to.
That's right. Well put. MD 2020 says get rid of Kyle McGlinchey. Use checking every single player that didn't help Trey when he went down in game 2. The whole lot of them. Also, I love that Morris Day and time poster in the back. Sorry.
You know, I like that. That's from Purple Rain, right? They were in. And
I think Prince wrote all that stuff for the time.
For Morris Day?
I think so. I think he conceptualized the whole. Yeah. Anyway.
Have you ever seen that movie?
A million times. It's great. I love that movie.
And the music, it's a great movie.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Scott says if Kyle was a doctor, he'd get sued for malpractice.
Yeah.
Harris says Kyle's like that nerdy kid in class that gets a perfect grade on every assignment and then the final presentation comes up and he chokes the class.
Yeah.
He's also like that rich kid that gets a really expensive present from his dad, breaks it immediately, goes to him and says, hey, Dad, can I get another one? It's broken. Can you fix it? No, I don't know how. Can I get another one? I've gotten you 6 quarterbacks. Hey, I know, but I broke them all. Can I get another one? Sean O'Leary says, that's what I'm saying. Dad, I broke it again. It was 2 weeks I got. Well, I know, but it.
Yeah.
Sean O'Leary says, tougher than a normal playoff loss. I'd take a muff punt or something like that over this. The Niners never had a chance to compete. Watching players go out there for 3+ quarters knowing it was hopeless was heartbreaking.
It was terrible. It was one of the worst football games I ever saw in my life, and orchestrated by Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, the fact that he had to put his team in the position to do that shit for 3-something quarters, how can you look any of them in the eye after that?
That's right.
Hire Steve Wilkes to replace D'Amico. He's a good coach. He's
a hell of a good. Listen, I don't know that he didn't do well in Arizona. I don't know that he's a head coach, but boy, is he a good defensive coordinator.
Dad, I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners end up with Vic Fangio. It seems like he's sort of leveraging Miami to come here. It seems like he's waiting for D'Amico to leave. I wouldn't be surprised if Fangio's the guy. BT Dub, I really enjoyed these.
I'd love
Go
it.
ahead.
I'd love Fangio.
He's great. BT Dub, really enjoyed these father-son sessions all season. Come to Chicago this winter and dinner and some great vino on me, seriously. Sean, thank you. Maybe in the summer.
Yeah,
Here
in
in Chicago,
it's 100 degrees.
That's true. The Niners had to wave the white flag the whole fourth quarter because Kyle embarrassing. Yorks, please keep him another 6 years. God bless Santa Clara crew, says the Remilia Sports Report. He's getting a kick out of this. The resident Rams fan. All right. Dad, what is the 49ers quarterback situation currently?
Okay.
How would you describe this?
Okay. I'm ready to roll on this one because I've been watching Iggy's videos with, the various people he talks to, and I've been reading and say, okay, well, let's be reasonable. What should they do next season for quarterback? Well, we were thinking that Brock Purdy would be the starter, but now he has sort of like a broken arm. He has the UCL, and who knows when he can play, and who knows who he will be when he finally plays. So the certainty of Brock Purdy starting the season as the number one starter is heavily in doubt. Okay, then you go to Trey
Can we
Lance.
stick with Brock Purdy for a second? I want to add a little bit to him. He's in a really tough spot. They said that he is going to get a UCL repair, which is not the same as a reconstruction. The repair is a different type of surgery, and the hope is he can be back in 6 months, but he's getting a second opinion. I'd be really careful if I were him because the Niners clearly want him back as soon as possible. But if he gets this repair, I mean, there's a possibility that it won't fix it all the way, that he will lose velocity. He might need to get the surgery because with Tommy John surgeries, a lot of times you get more velocity after the surgery, but you're out for like 12 to 18 months. So he needs to be really careful here and make the right decision. Get a second opinion or a third. Sorry.
Hey, listen, he wants a second opinion. I'm going to give him a second opinion. Run away.
Run away.
Run away.
Yeah, flee.
Okay, flee. So, okay, now Trey Lance. He got him a broken leg. But I like people say, but these are just normal football plays. Baloney.
Can I tell you something, Dad? You didn't see this, but a couple weeks ago, I think, Kyle Shanahan was in an interview and he was talking about Johnny Manziel. And Kyle's not smart enough to figure out that everything he says about Johnny Manziel could apply to Trey Lance. So he says, Johnny Manziel, great kid, overdrafted, put in a tough spot. Everyone wanted me to use him like RG3, but RG3 ran a 4.3. Johnny Manziel ran a 4.68. So I can't get him to the edge. For me to run him, I had to run him between the tackles on quarterback draws and quarterback powers. And he says, that's great. Johnny Manziel has the quickness to make the first guy miss, but the next guy's going to kill him. Direct quote.
Yeah.
Direct quote. And then he uses Trey Lance that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Okay, so what we're saying is Trey Lance has a broken foot. He couldn't come back and play this season. He's never really been taught. He has no experience, and Kyle is not a good quarterback teacher like Bill Walsh was, and we know others who are. So they have a situation where I thought it was going to be Brock Purdy, the starter, and then after he got hurt, because you knew he'd get hurt in next season if he didn't get hurt already, that Trey Lance would come in and he would get his shot before he got hurt. But now both are iffy. Both are iffy for the start of the season. Okay? Everybody's saying now, bring in Brady. Mm-hmm. Now, I like Brady. Well, I don't know Brady, but I mean, obviously he's a great quarterback, and he's from the Bay Area, and he apparently wanted to come here at one time. But here's the thing. He'll be 46 years old. Iggy, I saw him play this year. If he were to play behind that line, he would get killed.
He would get killed.
I mean,
they would end his career. That would end his career. It'd be over.
Yeah. It would be end his, yeah. Kyle would be the one to ruin and end the great career of Tom Brady. So what
No
you have
question.
is... No question. So what you have is 3 quarterbacks, and there's a question between all of them. So I want to say what I think the 49ers situation is. I don't have a solution because there isn't a solution. Because Jed and John have created it that they have a problem without a solution.
Yes.
I don't see a solution right now to that quarterback to that quarterback mess. And what I want to say is it's not my job to give them a solution. They created the mess. Let's see what the hell they do. And I think they have an ongoing problem.
They absolutely have an ongoing problem. Their coach got all their quarterbacks hurt. Purdy could miss the whole season. I mean, what is the solution? Bring back Jimmy. If they bring back Jimmy Garoppolo, I lose. I mean, I've already lost confidence. But wow, they could do that.
You know what? I don't want them to. I thought when Brock Purdy was well, they should cut ties with Jimmy. They are so desperate and so lacking in ideas, they may be forced to bring back Jimmy, which of course is the worst possible move.
Of course.
But that's the position they've put themselves into checkmate.
Again, and that's why I feel like Kyle is the one who has to go. If his only solution is, we can bring back Jimmy, that's not a solution. I'd rather have a coach who says, you know what, I can make Trey Lance Jalen Hurts. I like, or I have my own solution, something that you guys haven't tried yet. I want that guy.
Yeah.
Not Kyle and his retread ideas.
No. Right. But what I'm saying is, unfortunately, I would love to give a solution. Get this guy, get that guy. What I want to say is they're screwed. They're screwed and they're screwed for a while, and they did it to themselves. And I do not see an answer, and I don't think they see an answer.
A solution presented itself in the most. It was like Moses coming through the weeds.
That's right, with Moses.
Moses delivered by God, and you got him hurt in the last game of the season.
Hold on. You turned over the basket and drowned them. Right?
Yes.
Coming through the reeds, and you drown him.
Mr. Irrelevant was going to bail you out the entire franchise and lead you on to just prosperity. To the freaking promised land. I can't get over it. They got lucky. They lucked into this. It wasn't their plan. It wasn't their freaking plan. It's totally luck. It's like, despite all of their sins, God was like, I am giving you this blessing. My blessing. Yeah. And they're like, nope, not for us. Goodbye. Who we got next?
Igly, they lucked into Moses, and they fucked him. Moses? Screw him. Who does he think he is?
Oh, my goodness.
And, my goodness. If it had been up to this bunch, there'd be no Passover. We wouldn't have stayed from slavery.
We'd still be in Egypt right now.
We'd still be in Egypt, and we wouldn't be doing this video.
Philip Wilson says, I stopped watching after Josh Johnson got hurt. I mean, you could have stopped watching after Brock Purdy got hurt. Jordan says, thank you both for keeping my favorite team honest and help to lift the fandom bias that keeps a lot of people from criticizing the 49ers. Jordan, thank you. We try. Bootswain Boogie 03 says, love you guys. Can't wait for offseason shenanigans. Oh, there's going to be quite a bit.
Well, and he understands the pun on shenanigans and Shanahan.
Oh, shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
I promise today I'm buying the new microphone. I promise. David says Kyle started winning with Purdy and thought finally I'm winning with the third quarterback because my scheme is so great, and if I can win with Purdy, I can win with Josh Johnson. We got the dance because of Purdy. We got to the dance because of Purdy. Yes, they did.
He's a good dancer.
And then they took away his dancing shoes. No more dancing for you. Justin Smith, DC, Tom, baby, OC, can it work?
Forget Justin Smith. Forget
about it.
You don't even want to meet him. You don't want to meet him.
Kyle quit in the second half with 25 minutes left. I understand it was a long shot, but at least try something with Jennings or Juice. Embarrassing. Yeah. Wouldn't it be fitting trading Kyle Shanahan for the last pick?
Oh, I'd love it.
God bless Papa Cohn. God bless Papa Cohn. This is awesome. I know he's in. I wouldn't say rare form. He's always in this form. All right, let's get philosophical, Dad. Okay. Let's talk about football opinions and human nature.
Okay. This is a serious one, and I've been thinking about this a lot, and I spoke to Iggy last night, and I told him about this idea, and I asked if it would be okay if I talk about it, and he said it's okay. So I just have something to say. In the last few days, I've put opinions out on Twitter saying what I've said about Kyle, that he's the problem and that he got Brock Purdy hurt. It's an opinion. I didn't say that Kyle Shanahan is a bad person. I didn't say he eats babies. I didn't say he beats women. I said I disagree with how the blocking scheme. Yeah. And I have questions about him as a coach, which is my job to do that if I feel that. Okay. A lot of people on Twitter were very disagreed with me or agreed with me, but if they disagreed, Lowell, I take issue with you on this, and I really respect that. And maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
Right.
But I want to say 35 to 40% of what I got was stuff I haven't even shared with Iggy. So personal and so depraved. Yeah. And so here's what I want to say. I'm well into my 8th decade on this planet. God knows how much longer I'll be here. I'm 77 and counting. I've thought, and as I get older, I become very pessimistic because life is tragic, and I really understand that now. Mm-hmm. And I've become pessimistic about human nature. And I think I see it, unfortunately, a lot on Twitter. So I'm going to tell you something philosophical. There are basically two views of human nature. One is that babies are born innocent, and they're good, and society corrupts them. And this is a point of view that a very famous French philosopher named Rousseau had. And what it leads to, in a way, is progressive politics. What it says is people are born good, but society corrupts them. So what you need to do is improve society, and that way people will be perfected. Mm-hmm. It's a good philosophy, but it's bullshit. I'm Jewish, I'm not Christian, but I did go to a Christian college, and I think if I'm wrong about this stuff, the Christians out there, please correct me. I'm doing the best I can. I think Christianity, which is the world's great religion, does not believe in the inherent goodness of people. I think it believes that people are born flawed, and that what helps you to be a civilized person is religion, family, customs, and a good government. It helps to keep us in line. So, what I think is, in this day and age, people no longer value customs, things that are handed down to us, family, things like this. And I think what's happening is, well, I'm going to say something else about Christianity. It even goes so far as to say there's original sin, and God had to send his son to save us because we have a flawed human nature.
Well, what you're saying, though, if you want to see what human nature looks like, go to Twitter.
That's what I'm saying.
Write an opinion about a sport on Twitter, and then look at your mentions afterward and tell me if people are born good or born fallen.
Yeah, and I think Twitter, to the extent that I experienced it the last few days, just from giving an opinion, the personal things that people said about me and Grant and me together, it was like experiencing hell. It was. It was like experiencing hell. And I felt these are very unhappy people, but I think this is the way people present, some people, and this is a lot of people, present themselves on Twitter, confirms my pessimism that human nature is in many ways depraved. And I'm so sorry to end the show this way, but I felt it. And it's not that people hurt my feelings. They didn't. I don't give a shit. But I noticed it. Noticed it. And I thought, my God, is this what people really are? That's what I felt.
Yeah. And what's funny is a lot of times people say, Grant, I really admire what you do. You put yourself out there, but you get so much flack like every day. How do you take it? And I do. I mean, if I just reading through myself, it's a nonstop stream of people trying to get my attention with saying the meanest stuff possible. And the reason I don't take it to heart is because I've really written off 99% of you motherfuckers anyway. So sorry. I mean, I appreciate the guys that watch my show, but like of humanity, like I've written off like 99% of you guys. Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Well, it's interesting. I'm beginning to go there now. Yeah. I want to say
my close circle, my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iggy and I have, in certain ways, very similar personalities. We're very family-oriented. His brother Brian and his family, and Iggy and Swasti and me, we're really a close family. And Iggy has his best friends are still from Bishop O'Dowd High School. I have a few very close friends around the country. And I am fiercely loyal and fiercely protective of those people. But it takes a lot for you to come into my door, and for Iggy as well. And part of it is I don't trust people anymore. I don't, and it's very sad.
Yeah, and a lot of people, since we're like public figures, think they know us. Man, people don't really know us. We put ourselves out there talking about sports, but like they don't know us. A lot of people think and people get mad at me. They think they have opinions of me. It's like, that's fine. You don't know me at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. Well, you
don't know me at all.
You don't know us. You don't know us. What you know about Iggy and me from the show is, a certain persona. Like that everything you do is a certain persona, like a doctor comes in and is a certain doctor persona, but probably they're different at home. Yeah. This is our public persona, but we are much more complicated than this, and probably nicer.
Andy707 says, get rid of that damn boombox before the games. Yeah, I don't like it. Again, if they had won a Super Bowl at some point and that would be part of their thing, fine. But you're still the guys that haven't won the Super Bowl that act like you did.
Iggy, I don't know about the boombox.
Before every game, they like walk out from the locker room with a boombox and they're all kind of like dancing, like Debo's dancing, and like they're coming down. Like they're Mike Tyson, and they're coming out for the fight, and they got Redman behind them rapping, or Tupac. It was cool when Tyson did it. Tyson was the heavyweight champion of the fucking world at 19 years old. Yeah, do that shit. But you guys haven't won anything. Nothing.
No.
Nothing. Can I say that again? Nothing. I know it's hard for the majority of Niner fans to move away from Kyle Shanahan because he's made Niners relevant again, but it's time to respectfully part ways with him. Respectfully.
Yeah.
Love it. G.I. Jones says, fans stop going to games, and I bet things change pretty quick. Lowell, good to see you healthy, sir.
Thank you.
Mike H. says, one silver lining, when D'Amico gets hired by Houston, the Niners will be responsible for half of the current minority head coaches in the NFL. Nice. That is a good thing.
God love him. I mean, it's a very good thing. I'm not putting him down for that. I'm putting him down for what we're putting him down for.
Yeah. Carol T. says, love you guys. Thanks so much for the weekly therapy sessions.
Hi, Carol. I always enjoy when you write to me on Twitter. Thank you.
Kyle isn't a good coach of football players, but he's a good coach of coaches. He develops them.
Yeah.
He is good at that. He's a career coach. I mean, grew up around.
By the way, I think that's a very important attribute, and I agree.
Yeah. Lowell, please bring back your editorial essays, says Gizmo Maltese.
I don't want to write anymore. I'm done. But I do write all the time, but I'm writing a book about growing up in Brooklyn, and that makes me happy.
And it's fucking good. MD 2020 says, when Jimmy G was caught smiling, Equals Jimmy G. Trey told you Kyle would get hurt. Trey, yeah, man. I'm stuck in a bad spot. Jimmy Garoppolo, yeah, you are. So is Brock. I'm out of here. Good luck. Hope you get $100 million like I did. Did you see Jimmy Garoppolo smiling on the sidelines during the game?
I did. Iggy, what was that about?
What do you think?
Well, it was inappropriate.
I don't know. It was a bad look. Even if you feel it, you probably should know that you're going to be on TV. You're on the sideline. Just bite your lip. Don't smile. So he looked like a Cheshire cat.
He did, Iggy. It was a very bad look.
Yeah. Lucas says Twitter is not an accurate representation of real life. People hide behind their screens and cast stones, even though they live in glass houses.
Yes,
that is true.
But I'm saying those people who cast stones, I think that's the real them.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. Like you have to. It's true. You have your mask on in real life.
That's the real them.
It's the real them. Centennial G says, say it with your chest, Lowell Cohn. A true fan can accept constructive criticism versus leading with their hearts. You and Grant do a phenomenal job. Y'all keep doing the damn thing. Salute. Salute.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Black Orchid 772 says, I love and respect you, Papa Cohn. Society is depraved.
Well, I kind of feel that way in many ways.
Yep. Jesus is King says, Jesus is God's son who came to save us from our fallen sinful nature. Also trade Kyle.
That's one of the
that was
greatest,
great. That was so
Iggy,
good.
That's one of the greatest comments we ever got.
I was wondering where that was going. That was phenomenal. Sherpain says, I want to apologize for yesterday, Grant, but I just couldn't see how Larry was saying he needs to play more, but he didn't want Trey to start or play. Hey, it's fine. Larry said what he said. You guys pressed him on it. He clarified. That's what it's all about. Welcome to life after anti-social media. Avoid it. Yeah, I like YouTube better than Twitter, me personally.
Do you think I should get off Twitter, Iggy?
No, it's fun to fuck with people.
Okay.
Black Orchid says, stop drinking coffee. LOL, love that quote. Voice ad agency said, once JJ got in, why not call formations with 5 receivers on the field to spread the defense, see if he could make the easy reads? Why not do anything? Was there any creativity when Josh Johnson got in the game, or was it just total capitulation?
No, we're going to get him killed.
Yeah.
Hold on. The thing about stop drinking coffee was Larry was trying to talk. I was watching. He was so worked up. Iggy kept interrupting him. And I thought he was drinking coffee, like he was all, but that was just Iggy.
Yeah,
you got to be careful with Larry.
I'm sorry, Larry. Well, we talked after the show. He had a good show.
Okay.
Sugar Shane says, sign Orlando Brown to Davian Clowney and Ethan Pacific. I think it's Posich. That should fix our issues for the time being with our draft pick thoughts. I like the idea of bringing in 3 free agents. I don't know about Clowney and the other guy, but Orlando Brown is good. Hudson Duran says, you guys think we should fire Kyle, yet you don't have a better suggestion. Respectfully, that's your bias toward Kyle. Respect both of y'all, big fan. I gave a suggestion. No one said anything about him. Shane Steichen.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I want to talk about the word bias. Bias is, I think, if I'm going to equate it with prejudice, bias and prejudice, is if, like, people hate Jews. There's a lot of anti-Semitism in this country and in the world right now based on no facts. I think that's a bias or a prejudice. I don't have a bias against Kyle. If he were a good coach, I'd be in his corner. I don't think he's good. That's not a bias. Yeah. That's an opinion.
That's like saying, I think he's a bad head coach because he has brown hair. And I think people with brown hair are stupid. Like, that would be a bias. I'm judging him before I know him. I'm judging him based on preconceived notions about people in a group that I'm, that's bias. I've watched every freaking thing he's done for the last 6 years, and I've seen enough. I think we've seen enough.
I don't think that's bias.
No, it's not bias. Noah Martinez says, goats. Thank you, Noah. Mike H says, 80% of the country lives paycheck to paycheck. People are angry and frustrated and take that anger out on people who don't deserve it, like you guys. Don't take it personal. SM is their only outlet. Social media.
Okay, thank you.
I try not to take it personal. But at the same time, it's hard to ignore sometimes.
Iggy, some of the things I got this week, I'm never going to tell you about.
Good.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Never going to tell you about.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
I don't want to know. Thanks for watching, though. These shows are getting long and very passionate. Anyway, 1,874 people watching right now. Thanks for watching the Cohn Zone. This was a risky one, and you guys stuck with us. And I appreciate you guys for believing in us and our style of coverage. Dad, I love you. Oh, Gina, The show is over. Everyone stop giving us money right now. Gina says, Twitter attracts a certain type of people who are lonely and want to project their pain on others. Most humans aren't on Twitter, and from my experience, most are trying to be good people.
Thank you so much. That helps me. Thank you.
That's a nice way to end the show, too.
Okay, Iggy, I love the show. Thank you for watching. I love you, son.
Love you too, Dad.